Hi, welcome to Awake TV. So today, Sue and I are going to talk about linking to a reality and instant manifestation. So when we are all ascending to higher frequency Earth daily, I'm pretty sure some of you guys started to experiencing instant manifestation, good or bad. And we wanted to share with you guys about, we've been talking about this for a while, but it is very important for us to have a discernment of what kind of reality or information you want yourself to align with. Because, you know, we're living all this information over all the society, and then people, you know, our friends, our relatives, our colleagues, or whoever, they are sending us whatever the link of, they thought, oh my God, this is so good, and watch it, you know. Sometimes it may be perfectly resonating for them, but that not necessarily the kind of reality you want yourself to align with. We're not saying like decline their reality to say, oh, this is bullshit and this isn't the real. For these people, it's where they're at and their timeline. And while we are respecting where they're at, not denying, not putting down, you know, that's where they're at, but you know where you are. So we wanted to share with you guys so we can start living as a creator and having more control over what kind of information or anything we let those stuff within our reality, because we do have an influence by all this information. And we thought it's a really important to start talking about it because, you know, I personally started to experiencing instant manifestation now. I don't even have to like focus on and then start having, I don't do affirmation, but point is, you know, start constantly thinking about it or feeling about it to make it happen. It's like less than 5 seconds. When you thought about it, you let it go and stuff happens. So it can be good or bad, you know, and it's even more important for us to be mindful what kind of information we decided to saturate ourselves within.
Your thoughts also, your thoughts and your beliefs, we have to be really mindful of that, because truly what we're thinking about constantly is what we're manifesting. I see it all the time on social media where, you know, certain friends of mine, or, you know, just people I kind of know, but don't really know. They keep repeating, putting up the same post, kind of complaining about the same things. And then there's, why does this keep happening? And, you know, and they notice that they don't see it happening to anybody else, but, and I'm just, oh, it's so hard for me to hold back and go, because you keep thinking about it, because you keep talking about it, because it's your reality, you believe in it. And so, you know, for example, somebody, you know, was having issues with the animals in the yard and the conflicts with the dog, and I think she has 2 dogs, but and I'm thinking to myself, because you just keep focusing on it and talking about it, and oh, how horrible it is, you know, going on and on about, oh, well, this happened again, well, this ruined my day. You know, we don't, a lot of people don't understand that the more you do that, the more you solidify that reality, and it's just going to keep happening and keep happening. So I guess that would be what you call the negative, manifesting the negative, and pretty quickly too. Or people that say to themselves over and over again, well, no matter what I do, I can't lose weight. Or, you know, I keep getting sick. I have another friend who's just believes in illness, and she just, it's one thing after another. And it's like, well, if we can come to realization that everything we speak and do and believe becomes manifest, and as you said, it can be very instantly. then we can start creating consciously and creating what we want rather than all this crap that we've, had coming to us that we thought we had no control over.
Yeah, we are learning to be the master of our mind instead of mind is, mastering us. I started to realize, there are certain, I guess, programmed word, sometimes started to talking to you, and then it's not always positive, right? And then it seems like true to you. What are you going to do about it? So now I kind of tell, okay, that might be true, but anything is possible.
And
So
sometimes it's true in somebody's reality, but not yours, right?
yeah,
We
but
get to decide.
whole point is like when you think it's true, and then when you trap yourself into whatever the belief of, oh, this is true, the way to lock yourself out is, yeah, but anything is possible, and
Mhm.
for me personally, that stuff is working because, okay, you're not really sticking to one reality. Yeah, that might be true or maybe true, but anything is possible. So you just opened up a whole horizon of possibility besides what you thought is true, right?
Right, yeah. And
So
I think we used to talk about that as being open to other truths.
because
So yeah, it's good.
we do live in a lot of different timelines.
Mhm.
So it was kind of interesting that I was talking to my soul sister Tanya because I got really confused about my particular guidance from my guide. And then, I'm not going to get into too much details, but they guided me to a particular real estate firm. And then after I did have an interview, it was not a great experience. Means, kind of people I work with is very important to me. So even though that is a guidance given to me, and then it turned out to be pretty questionable experience, right? And then I was like, what was the point of this guidance? I'm deeply confused. And then a lot of times what I know about myself, I'm really, really clear about everything. Like that is one of the ability of me. I always know what I'm doing, and I'm always clear about what I want. And this is the one of the few times I was deeply confused. Like, okay, this guidance seems really off, and then I follow the guidance, and what the heck is that? And then that was actually they wanted to test my limit, means how I would react to it when something unexpected happened to
Yep.
whatever the guidance, because I was expecting everything gonna go through like very smoothly, and then how it's meant to be, blah blah, and then all this fear and all this thought is creeping up, and then they wanted to test it, I guess, right? And then of course guidance is important. But at the end of the day, when we are learning to be a creator, guidance isn't some kind of emerald tablet or something we have to 100% follow. Of course, when you're CEO and then you are talking to your accountant, you're talking to your lawyer, you're talking to your specialist, and they give you whatever the professional expertise of their opinion according to their field. But at the end of the day, as a CEO, you decide your last decision after you heard everything from everybody, right?
Hmm.
And life, you're CEO of your life. So just because your guide is telling you, just because your higher self is telling you, at the end of the day, you have to decide. So my decision I made, I thought I spoke to you about that too, was really didn't feel right about the place I was guided to because it was, it was kind of nasty. Let's put it that way. So I said, you know what? The place I'm supposed to be mingle with, it will come to me so easily. And then when I'm facing to particular agency or particular place, I know it's a temporary guidance. It's a stepping stone. This is not me changing my career or anything, but I think this experience is adding me to whatever is necessary, right? Besides meeting people. So when it comes to me, I'm gonna feel it right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah, and
what happened
feeling.
to
I
me.
mean, I think that's the key to everything you just said is how did you feel? And as you were sharing with me along your process, as you went to different places, uh, it just always came down to your feeling about it. What's your body telling you? How do you feel energetically when you walk in or when you're interacting with these people? And it was very clear for you.
Yeah, do you feel right or not? Like you don't really need 10,000 of reasons or even 5 reasons why this place is right. You just feel right. And that
Yep.
kind of right feeling is very similar to when you meet the right person in the relationship. You meet
Yeah.
this person, you talk with him or her for 5 minutes, you just know this is the person.
Yeah. And it might not even make any sense in your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, we work in tandem. We're always talking about like, closing off our left brain. Our left brain, our egoic self is given to us as uh, a survival mechanism in this 3D reality, so we can't get rid of our ego and we shouldn't try because that is, but what we want to do is balance and work with our ego so that we let it know that we're hearing it, we think it, but we got this. There are times where we have to tell our ego to take a back seat and say, okay, you're not making the decision here and you're not going to put fear into me at this point. But that ego exists. I mean, if it exists for our survival to protect us, against dangers, real and imagined. So, but what it comes down to is what you're saying is, you actually went into your feeling self, your internal knowing, your whole essence of you told you which was right for you. And from everything you've told me, you made a great choice for you, for what you want and what your intentions and your goals are, but you didn't waver. And I think that's the important thing. Even though your guidance took you to the one place, um, sometimes our higher self and our soul path has put something in our path because we want to experience it. And it's kind of like saying, so are you sure what you want? You told us what you want. You said this is how you want it to be, but here's this other option. Are you sure? Like you said, you called it a test, and I guess that's accurate, because that happens to me often too. I'll make a statement and then about something, or I've left something behind, or I decided it wasn't for me, and then opportunity comes right back in again with the same kind of thing, and I'm going, no, I'm sure. I already told you I don't want this. So and my mentor Bob used to say that to me, many years ago. He would say, the minute you make a decision, you're going to go one way. A bunch of things will come into your path to test you to see if you're sure about that. Is like, are you resolved? Is that the final decision? Is that your final answer? And it used to really tick me off, especially when I was in my 20s. I was like, well, that's messed up. Why? And he said, because you're building your reliance on your inner knowing yourself. And once you come to the point where, all these other offers come in and it just, it's not for you. And you can just easily say, nope, that's not what I want. And you don't go into your head about it for 5 years and, think of every reason why you should have taken the offer, but you're determined and it's not for you. It might be good for somebody else, but not for you. That's your soul growth. That's your internal knowing that you do indeed know exactly what you want. And that's how we manifest the reality that we want, as opposed to manifesting somebody else's reality or what someone else thinks is right for us, or something that we're not sure about.
Yeah,
Um,
because before means before our absolute spiritual awakening, I'm pretty sure those of you who are smart enough to listen to your guide or your higher self, as long as you're listening to their guidance, angels or guide or higher self, usually they steer us to the right direction. But once we go through a particular, or when we meet a particular milestone as a spiritual awakening, and you started learning how to be a creator, right? Um, to me, it's not always necessary that you have to listen to the guidance as something that you must listen no matter what is going on, right? At the end of the day, you have to trust how you're feeling. And part of the, I guess, your growth period is start having whatever you're given by your guide or your higher self or your galactic team as one of the possible suggestions. It's not set in gold or anything. And
yeah,
then,
it's a template. It's like options.
yeah, so you're not going to look at this like, okay, I'm given this guidance and I'm going to follow no matter what is happening and no matter how I'm feeling, right? Because I came to, of course, I had to talk to Tanya about this, but whole point is like the suggestion I was given when you're thinking about with your left-sided brain, it's a really good idea to follow no matter how I was feeling about this. But I had a huge reluctant feeling about, I feel really like shit. And then I don't really understand why I have to follow this just because I was told to follow, because I didn't feel right about it.
Yeah.
So I did follow how I felt instead of, because I was thinking, there are so many other possibilities. There are so many other timelines. I don't really think if I follow what they're saying, that's not the only way to lead what I want. I said to
Exactly.
myself at the end of the day, no matter which path I follow, when I feel right about it, I feel it's not the right means according to your brain, but you feel good about it. You feel somehow this, it's not excitement, but it's like you just feel right, like all this positive rightness you feel within your heart. And when you're feeling that, I thought it doesn't steer you on.
It's
Well,
like a
it's right.
contentment, I think. What you're explaining. It's like a contentment, or it's easy. And it feels good. And it's like, oh, okay, that's not a hard choice to make because it feels right. I think that's what
Yeah,
you're saying.
it's like you no brainer. You have no, what you gonna call it, logical reason why, but you just know it's right.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, this is a lesson I wanted to share with you guys about. It's a good idea to follow that versus, all other suggestions you're getting, right? It's always a good idea to get all other insight and the suggestions. That's a part of the reason people do QHHT or BQH, because more other suggestion or possible route you can take, you have 10 other choices instead of your brain or your heart can come up with one. And then when you have 10 other choices to choose, you have more to choose instead of just one or two,
Hmm.
which technically you could make the best decision to go to which route or which timeline. You
Yeah,
know,
then you go through and you try things out like you did. And then you say, well, yeah, that's interesting. And that's along the path, but it's not right. And you go, okay, what's next? And then that caused you to continue in search of, the right agency for you, which didn't take very long, I might add. So that because you learned your lesson, not learned your lesson, because you stuck with your intuition and what you knew didn't feel right for you, um, wasn't a good option for you, because you stuck with that and you pressed further and you said, okay, I'm checking that option off the list, it doesn't feel right, and you had faith in yourself, it resolved pretty quickly. Probably didn't feel like it at the time, but you know, within a few days. I mean,
Yeah,
the phone calls that I got from you between the one option and the other, it was like 2 days.
yeah,
So, you know, folks, I'm going to talk about outside influences afterwards, but the internal influence, like you can go to a psychic, you can have a QHHT session, a quantum healing session, you could have all these things, and you're trying to get your guidance from inside. But as Erica said, there's more than one option. Usually our guides don't give us just one option, or our higher self, but they try to lead us in the right direction. I believe, Erica, that you were led in the direction you were just to solidify in yourself. You were like, no, I'm the decision maker here. I make the executive decision, and this is not the place. But anyway, so sometimes that happens, but in the end, you went with your feelings and it worked out beautifully.
yeah. It's really important when you make the decision on your own. The key factor is if you feel good about it.
Mhm.
Because
Does it feel
last time,
comfortable?
yeah, last time I share with my own decision about my YouTube channel, it got nothing to do with feeling good about it. I just didn't want to, creating something non-professional quality of the content. That has to do with my left brain side decision. So even that two different kind of final decision of not following the guide, there's a clear difference between one or the other, right? And then once you are starting to merging with the higher self, we are in the training of following our intuition while we're hearing all sort of other advices and suggestions. At the end of the day, you make your own decision based
Yeah,
on,
we've seen that in the movies too. You know, tons of where the movies we're all attracted to, the ones where, you know, the society or the family or the friends, they're all pushing somebody to do something a certain way, and then eventually they just break away from all of that and do it their own way. And we get kind of excited when we watch stuff like that. I mean, those are the kind of guidances that we're getting to be our own being, because we really are creating moment to moment. In every single moment we're creating what our reality looks like. And so we have to be very discerning and very decided and confident when something comes in, somebody's opinion, or somebody sends you a video or whatever, they send you projections of what sales are going to be. And you got to be careful about latching on to that energy if it's not for you, because you know they mean well. It's not that anybody's, you know, intentionally trying to sabotage you, but it's their energy, it's not yours. So you have to be very, very picky about what you're going to accept as your reality. And you know, for instance, you know, with you going in, you know, to real estate, there'd be a lot of people that would say to you, oh, you know, this is a bad time, the housing market's really down. Well, that could be true about house sales, but that's not true about rentals, or that's not true about you know, in one state that may be true, but another state it may not. So you know, that's somebody trying to warn you or caution you, but it's not helpful, because you've made the decision and you're moving forward and you're going to be successful.
and also, it's really important for, because I wrote it down on my notepad what I want, you know, because I know that. So I wrote it, I wanted the place flexible so I can continue what I'm doing, which is not a real estate. You know, I don't mind adding this on top of what I'm doing because I'm never swear off from my mission. You know, I'm gonna continue coaching. I'm gonna continue doing my spiritual work and spiritual service. Because I would be really upset when I had to give up on everything for, this suggested additional thing, my guide and others are telling me it's a good idea as a stepping stone, but it's a stepping stone. stepping stone is there for the reason to add something on top of what you already have, not completely changing and stopping everything. That's what you, unless that's what you want. So I wanted to real estate place that I can completely schedule and manage how I want my daily life. Means I'm going to do everything, not just real estate. That's how I wanted to do it. And then I don't want all these people start telling me what to do, giving me the quota or how often I had to show up, all that kind of bullshit. Because I can totally manage everything. Working on the film, I still have this tendency, but working on the film set, you work 12 to 14 hours a day. Okay, that's your regular schedule. You never work 8 hours. So when you have 12 hours, let's put it 12. You have 12 hours a day, you can definitely do both, you know. And that's what I wanted to do. And then I can handle it. But whole point is go with ease. Means you're not gonna really put all sort of responsibility on yourself unless that makes you feel excited. But when you're doing something new, especially, and you never done it before, like the most important thing is having playful feeling and then dip yourself feet into it and how you feel about it. And oh, I like this. I'm gonna do more of this and more of that, more of that. That kind of thing, because that's gonna trick you into other doors because everything is connected.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, we forgot to mention, and I think it's worth mentioning now, what we were talking about earlier, which is you decide what you want, you ask for it, you set out the intention, and then you got to let it go. You can't be grasping onto it and constantly thinking about it, and then because that leads into worrying about when's it going to show up, and that actually keeps, I think that's the difference between instant manifestation and something that takes longer to come to us, is that holding on, that gripping it like it's life or death or something. um, there are a lot of manifestation techniques out there, and they're always talking about how you have to constantly be visualizing and thinking about it. And when you wake up in the morning and all through the day, and then at night, and you have to eat and sleep and drink it, and then eventually it's going to pop up. No, that's not how instant mana, that actually prevents it from coming to you, because you're so attached to this manifestation that you're not actually just allowing the energy to come in and bring it to you. What's better is to, when the idea pops in and you make a decision, and yes, you want that in your life, or you just think, well, gee, I wish I had this. You've set the intention right there. Now you got to let it go, and you got to just trust that it's coming. If it's meant for you, it will come. And sometimes it comes better than we can even imagine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's cool. That's happened to me so many times, that I'm consciously aware of now in my life, that I just think it's awesome. It's almost like a kid with a new toy, and you keep finding new facets of the toy and going, oh, well, look at that. But truly, it sounds counterintuitive. It's like, well, if I stop thinking about it, then how does the universe know I want it? They know, they heard you the first time. And if it's for you, if it's not going to throw you off your life plan, it will come. And usually we want things because we're trying to move forward and progress in our lives. We're trying to, raise our energy and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, most of the time, what you guys are going to be wanting is probably just what you need. But then that trust part comes in, where you got to let it go after you've told them, because they heard you. When I say they, I mean the universe, your higher self, all of your guides, all of the people that are involved in your life, their higher selves. Everybody heard you.
Yeah.
um, so you don't have to keep repeating it and chewing on it and praying about it and visualizing it and all this other stuff, because it's going to come.
Yeah, because the most important thing is to go with the flow, you know. Because when you plan on something, when you started doing something new, and then having an expectation or plan on something, you know, um, that's that's kind of like blocking you from whatever the overall picture of what universe is presenting you. So of course, there's certain things you're expected to do or you decided to do. Yeah, you're gonna do that. But everything else, how is this related to overall picture? Just let it go. And somehow think you trust everything is connected, even though you don't see it. How? But it's like flipping the page of the book. You eventually find out how everything is connected and all dot is connected with each other. And a lot of times, what I notice about observing my life or my client life, when you keep on repeating the same experience in your life, you know, a lot of times your soul gets so bored of it, you know. So even though, let's say, if one thing, one profession, whatever, that is a life purpose, you know, let's put it this way. And then when you've been doing this for a few years, you know how to do it. You can predict like how it is going to be. You're kind of comfortable, but there's no freshness. There's no growth after a certain period of the time. So a lot of times your soul or your higher self or your team introducing a new kind of experience which got nothing to do with your main life purpose, because the last thing that they want, that means including your soul, is repeating the same experience over and over, because we are here to grow. And we are not experiencing the same thing and get bored with it.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that's how it works. Exactly.
Yeah, so our or my tip is to have a childlike curiosity, and then childlike braveness or childlike experimental mind to see, okay, this come to me, I feel good about it, and then I just gonna explore and see what's gonna happen.
I like it.
You know, that's
Hmm.
more of the attitude aligning with 5D,
Hmm.
because 5D is everything to do with joy
Yeah.
and everything to do with fun. So,
Follow your highest thought too.
mhm. And
You
then
know,
when
if you've
you,
got a bunch of options, which one makes you feel the best and pick that one.
yeah, and then feel the best doesn't mean like on the paper looks the best for you. Like which one seems like fun to you?
Yeah. What do you get excited about? Yep.
Yeah, and this kind of following highest excitement, which Bashar was always talking about, is indeed the path to 5D and the way of living the 5D living. Because more and more we are saying goodbye and closing the cycle of challenge and hardship. And the 5D living is about fun.
Hmm.
What's more fun for you? Um, if this choice makes you feel playful,
I mean, even if there's a little
excited.
fear there, you know, I mean, even if there's a little fear with something new, because say you have, like you said earlier, done the same job for, and you're working on your life path, but it, you know, you've been doing the same thing for 30 years. It might be a little nerve wracking to step out of your comfort zone, but I mean, growth isn't happening in the comfort zone, like you just said, Erica. So, you know, even if there is a little bit of fear there, a little queasiness, a little, geez, you know, I don't know if I can do this. I mean, how are you going to know if you don't try? As long as that excitement's there, like Erica's talking about, and your childlike wonder, and you're going, well, gee, that could be really fun, you know, go for it, because you know that you're not going to grow if you stay where you are. If you're starting to get those feelings like, oh man, this is Groundhog Day, I'm just doing the same thing day in and day out.
Yeah. A lot of times your guide or your higher self introducing you to something new, which may not anything to do with what you're doing, because the part of the soul growth. And then, you know, when you are so, I guess, being in the conformity and complacent. And that's when they introduce you to everything new to you, you know. And it's a good idea to jump into it because a lot of times a change or opportunities or whatever is coming through people, right? Your higher self, your guide, they use other people to open the door for you, or you know, you meet certain people through the other person. Otherwise, you never had the opportunity to meet. So
Right.
when you're introduced to do something new on top of what you're doing, I would highly suggest to you guys to be open-minded and try for it because this will certainly will lead to your core practice, your core mission, your core passion of what you're doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 minutes. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, just focusing on what makes you feel joy and fun. So external and internal information doesn't matter. If it fits with your joy or feeling good, take that. And it doesn't, respect what that's where other people are at. That's not wrong, whatever the thing they're recommending you. That's right for them, but not resonating with you. That's fine, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Be neutral about it.
Yeah. We have to start seeing ourselves as the all-powerful beings that we are. And, you know, that doesn't come easy for a lot of people, but the more we take these steps and we move in that direction, eventually we'll be like, oh yeah, I really am creating this. And you're going to love it because you're going to be able to make your reality whatever it is you want, what your highest passion is.
Yeah, and the 5D is about the variety. It's not everybody's doing the same thing or thinking the same way or even vibrating in the same manner. Yeah, core vibration will be similar, but we
Mm-hmm.
all have our tone, our color. So we do our own thing and then we sing with our tone. So this is one of the great lessons for all of us to learn, you know, just because you feel this is right and then the other person is wrong, that's not 5D. The other person is right for whatever they believe in. So let them be, and then you let yourself be as well.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so next week, Sue and I are going to bring more interesting topic. Thank you so much for watching. Please share, like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.